What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got a little tidbit of information for you guys to check out. This is in regards to the 2018 Mega TINS. We got some leaks and we are going to break them down and discuss them in this video. See what you guys think and also what I think. Now, let me just say before we even talk about the leaks, I kind of feel like the Mega TINS this year, just on face value, were incredibly alluring. Just based on the cards that Konami told us were in here, things like Evenly Matched, that's an incredibly attractive card that a lot of players want. I don't even own Evenly Matches, but I'll definitely be picking some up. Firewall Dragon is a card that a lot of people will probably need. Same thing goes for Borreload, and then like Saryuja Scourge Red. Like, just off those four cards that they told us were going to be in the Mega TINS, I kind of felt like they were already going to be a pretty good value, but Konami has thrown in a ton of really good cards. I know a lot of people have been complaining over the last 24 hours, there's no Needle Fiber, there's no Cherubini Re, these promos aren't nearly as good as those, but I feel like overall there is a ton of value to be had in the Mega TINS, and we're going to talk about some of the leaks, because as you can see in front, this was posted originally by Italian Yu-Gi-Oh! You can see people already have their hands on the card. So I believe that we've got Twist Cobra here, we got Rescue Ferret. Rescue Ferret is one of those cards that the Yugi-tubers tried to hype up, and it was just like, you could kind of tell it wasn't Rescue Cat, it wasn't Rescue Rabbit, it was never going to be like a format defining card, because the problem was it required setup. Like, Rescue Ferret is cool and everything, and it can lead to some pop-off plays, but the difference between Rescue Ferret and like Rescue Cat and Rescue Rabbit is Rescue Cat and Rescue Rabbit, you just normal summon those, activate their effects, and like you got where you needed to go. With Rescue Ferret, you needed like a Link monster already on the board, and at that point it's like, you know what I mean? It's not a very good standalone card, and the other good rescue monsters are like good standalone cards. We got Lee the World Chalice Fairy. Okay, for you World Chalice players out there, I don't know, run Rescue Ferrets and run Lee World Chalice Fairy. We got Dragonic Diagram. At one point that was a $100 card. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. But for anybody who still wants to play some True Dracos, because they're still a very solid deck and they have not been power creeped, and they just got Ignis Heat back and all that other good stuff, that can be a deck that you can look at. Probably the most valuable card on this page is the Mech Knight of Purple Nightfall. This was a card that cost a pretty little penny. I think at one point it's like $25, and you run 3 copies of this in pretty much any of the Mech Knight builds, whether it's like Mech Knight Weather Painters or Mech Knight Invoked. You're running 3 copies of this because it is one of the best, probably the overall best Mech Knight. Banish it, search another Mech Knight, comes back a little later, and it has really great stats as well. The man, I can't, is this the Mech Knight of World Scars or the Mech Knights? I'm not gonna try to guess his name. It's the Mech Knight boss monster, let's just call it that. He's an ultra rare, and also he's in here, Trickstar Candina. For any of you guys still interested in like Trickstars, we have this rocket monster whose name I can't remember. I gave up on rockets a very long time ago. That's more of a Paul from Team APS thing. I guarantee you he would know which rocket that was. It's an ultra rare though, so any of you rocket players out there, shout outs to you. Destrudo up here is a rare. Now, these next 3 cards are actually quite strange, and I guess you could say a little random. I mean, I guess it's not random in the sense that Konami is pushing this archetype in Cybernetic Horizon. They just really revamped it, but it is quite strange that Konami included End of the World, Demise King of Armageddon, and Ruin Queen of Oblivion, because these cards are not from like the last year of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, these aren't even from the last 5 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! These came out in the GX era. Like, watch Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 3. I'm gonna say off the top of my head, Shadows of Infinity. I'm pretty sure that that's the set these guys came out in. These cards are maybe not even in the last decade. They're super old, and it's just interesting that Konami would put these in here, because, you know, the Mega TINS are generally from, they're generally supposed to be cards from like the previous 4 booster sets, but Konami just completely broke the mold by throwing these in here. I mean, it makes sense because they're trying to push the archetype, but I just don't get why they didn't, I don't know, release them in like the OTS or find some other way to do it. Feels a little weird to throw them in the Mega TINS. Now, we also have some other cards that have been revealed. This information comes from Carlancho's store. I guess I can't say revealed. These are all just technically leaks because they're not from Konami. The first batch of information was from YG organization, or not YG organization, but Italian Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is really cool because in here there are actually some really good value cards that a lot of people, myself included, are going to want. We got Topologic Bomber Dragon. This card became incredibly popular when people started playing the Sky Strikers in decks like Trickstar, because what they would do is they would make the the Topologic Bomber Dragon, and then they would use, during their opponent's turns, they would use tokens to basically just activate the Bomber Dragon to disrupt their opponent and basically nuke all their monsters. They would use things like the Sky Striker, the drone, the Hornet drones, or they would use like a Scapegoat and just, you know, summon it to a link point that the Topologic Bomber Dragon had, and then they would just like nuke the field. And Topologic Bomber Dragon, you're still seeing some of the effects. In fact, I believe that play was actually used during the NAWCQ finals, or if not, maybe the quarterfinals. I definitely remember seeing it in the top cut by like one of the Goki or Trickstar players. It's still like a $15 card. I mean, it's a secret rare. It comes from Code of the Duelist. Not going to be the easiest thing to find. So if you want to save yourself a little bit of money and you're in need of a Topologic Bomber Dragon, it's a good time to probably look at, you know, picking that card up, because the price of it is going to start dropping once this information becomes widespread. Another one is the Mythical Beast Master Cerberus. This is a card that I was a big fan of. I was a big fan of, honestly, just the Mythical Beast as an archetype. I thought that they were really good potentially in decks like Zephyra, or just really like pendulum builds, because while you don't really pendulum summon Master Cerberus that much, you can pendulum summon Jackal. You can use this guy to, you know, get to like other monsters, and it's a good card when it's actually on the field. And you know, it's a $10 card, and when people run it, they usually run 2 or 3 copies, so that's like maybe $20-$30 that you might not have to spend anymore. And then the last one is actually the card that I want the most out of here, and that is Inspector Border. You guys watched the finals of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship. This card absolutely regulated against Altergeist. I'm an Altergeist player. I've said it before. Inspector Border is basically GG against Altergeist. There are no inherent ways to actually out this card unless you're playing Mirror Force, Regeki, or Dark Hole. There's nothing in the deck that can beat over it, so you have to rely on something like Scapegoat, and it's just a card that it's absolute devastation. Bowden had it used against them. It was summoned turn 1, and he straight up lost to it. He spent the next like 5 turns just losing to this card. And it's an $11 card, and it's such an amazing card coming out of the side deck against Altergeist, like running 3 copies. If you get this on the field turn 1, you basically just auto win against the deck. So, you know, just another like good value card in here. Hopefully the reprint will be a maybe $5-$6 card, and people can pick them up for about the price of, you know, a little more than just one. We might be able to get ourselves a playset if it ends up being like $4 or $5. So what do you guys think of the 2018 Mega Tins? I kind of feel like this is a really good batch. I mean, yeah, there's some weirdness in here, like the fact that some of the old GX cards are in here, but overall, when you look at Firewall Dragon, Borlo Dragon, Saryuja Skull Dread, Evenly Match, Master Cerberus, Inspector Border, Topologic Bomber Dragon, Trickstar Candina, Lee the World Chalice Fairy, like there's just so much value in here. The Mech Knight Purple Nightfall, Dragonic Diagram, so many good cards that a lot of budget players may not have been able to afford. Also, you know, the Elemental Hero Solid, that kind of takes heroes to a little bit of another level. Like maybe it's like a third of, no, it's probably maybe, I'm trying to think of how much that improves them, like a half tier, maybe, yeah, probably like a half tier, because it's just better than Goblin Bird, because it is a hero you can search with like emergency call, plus it does more stuff. When it leaves the field from like a mass change, it'll help you float with like your hero monsters, etc., etc. So let me know what you guys think, and leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.